So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
yes no?
employees are only
question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no, because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media
I'm
narrative.
not setting up a trap,
and I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, we know that happened. But they do like to do that. He's right to say, I don't have to answer your question yes or no or whatever, because it's always a got you, and it'll be used as a clip. Well, it already happened, so he didn't avoid that. But he's right to answer in that way, to keep them from just giving them that straight clip like that. But at the same time, they've been purging. When Trump came in there, he a lot of federal employees. He's on his revenge tour. Everybody that came at him. What is it from Paid in Full? He said, what did he say? They got my little man B. Everybody that owed me money. Everybody B. I'm on some crash out B. Yeah. Trump is on a revenge tour, and he purged anybody that was connected as much as he could. And I think he's not finished, but yeah, he didn't forget. He didn't forget. And anybody that was on the other side related to y'all, all y'all gotta go. All y'all, not only y'all gotta go, but I'm coming at you. Like I want to hurt you. If I can hurt you financially, or if I can hurt your reputation, or if I can get you locked up, getting fired is just the beginning. You're not playing with these people. But then a lot of people caught strays. I was making. We was in the group chat. The NLRB, the CFPB, they didn't, as far as I know, they were just helping people, and they didn't come after Donald Trump. You had all the people at Social Security, many other. We could go down. There's a long list of federal organizations that got purged, and a lot of them didn't have nothing to do with coming after Trump. But the ones that did come after Trump, he was coming after them. But he has weakened the system really, really dramatically. And that's a reality. And that's another thing that's driving these unemployment numbers. I don't know why nobody's adding that together. Like, that's another thing about the narrative in the media, whatever. The way that they, do stories about this and don't do stories about that, because the story about the jobs numbers coming out and Trump not liking them and then firing the person that came out with the numbers. Numbers come out again. What they say, 900,000 new jobs 900,000 new jobs, and well under the projected amount. And the Fed just cut the rate, 0.5%. The grocery prices, and what am I trying to say? Um, the jobs, the unemployment rate, like over 5%. What is it? It rose to like, I don't want to say the wrong numbers. The unemployment rate is up. It's not in a good range. Um, and why isn't the media making a connection between all of the people that got laid off and fired from the federal government? I could do a whole show about that, because that situation really goes deep, because you got to look at historically, and it's a lot of black and brown people that work those jobs, and women, what they would call minorities or disenfranchised communities or whatever, work those jobs. So there's a lot in that, but I don't want to go on a tangent. Kash Patel's claim that he fired FBI agents for voting their oath of office is a blatant cover up. The three senior officers, officials, I can't see, the three removed for misconduct. Lawsuits reveal Patel admitted were likely illegal, yet carried them out to stay in Trump's good graces. Yeah, and what was the clip? Cory Booker, and he was talking to Cash, man, Trump's going to get rid of you, and that could very well happen. And that could have been the plan from the jump. Really, really shady. Politics is shady, shady, shady. So if they was planning on putting this dude up there just to use him as a scapegoat and blame, it's just how the dominoes fell, how the cookies crumble, just how it happened. But yeah, I could see that them, because this whole thing with the shooting and other things, the Epstein thing, they might just pin all that on him and then just fire him and say, it was that dude, bro. We good now. We got him out of here. Another comment that says he evades and lies on the stand every time he opens his mouth. He's actually skilled to be in that room when it comes to that. Everybody in that room does that. Another comment says, release the Trump Steam files. Another one, truth and failure to answer questions in the court of law should be considered treasonous. This is insane. No one ever answers yes or no questions. They always, I was saying earlier, the yes or no answers, they turn into sound bites and they get twisted out of context and used, and they turn into reels. So can't blame them for not wanting to be on a reel. It says, I think I've watched another one. Bro is pesky, failing to uphold the standards of the FBI, the director of the FBI. As the director, said, bro is pesky, failing to uphold the standards of the FBI as the director of the FBI. But I get you. I'm following it. Another comment says, does he know the standard of the FBI? Another one, the answer is yes. I agree. The answer is yes to what he was asking him. But I also understand why he didn't answer yes. And even if it was like a situation that he could go ahead and be clean about it, he still wouldn't just straight up answer yes or no, because that's going to be a soundbite. So, I mean, it is what it is. what y'all think. We gotta get past the partisan stuff and just look at the truth. You might like his politics, but is he really qualified for the position that he's working? If you want to take all the teeth out of the FBI and basically make them a shell of a organization.
Never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working.
Wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial? What are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said,
we're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
I want you to follow your word.
Have gone court, everything we direct
Victor,
over
you said everything
release, you're releasing.
Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it, but it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you there are multiple federal court orders. Release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
Let's talk about the witness interviews, 302s of witness interviews. Those are not subject to the court order. Those are not subject to any fictional sealed order for a search warrant. Why aren't you releasing those with the? How is that not part of the cover up?
And let me make something.
Yeah. It says Democratic lawmaker continue to grill FBI Director Kash Patel for answers regarding the Jeffrey Epstein file. Why don't you just release the entire files as you promised to do? Representative Jamie Raskin pushed. Yeah. The victim said they're getting together and they're gonna release information on their own, the stuff that they know. Again, that could be a bombshell because we got these internet sleuths and they're really good. And if the victims release information that's detailed enough, then the internet sleuths are gonna go to work and they're gonna put the pieces together. True, if the stuff that they're saying is true, it's gonna line up with public information. If that makes any sense. So yeah, they said that they was gonna do that. I haven't heard anything else about it. Maybe they're just trying to monetize and it'll turn into a docu-series or something and it'll just be all durable. But everybody's gonna watch it and it's gonna make a whole bunch of. But yeah, man, we know that they got information. We know that they got information that they're holding on this topic. There's not, without a doubt. And people, the powerful people, they don't want and that's the thing, like they don't respect us. They don't respect us if they don't want us to know the truth. If they're they're hiding things from us, they think we're stupid and just give us BS ass stories, and we think we're supposed to just eat it up. We're supposed to accept that, and that's what gets people angry, and that's the reason why people are angry. They personally, I'm freaking exhausted of all of the BS. You know, I'm tired of all the BS, man. I'm tired of all the partisan politics. I'm sick of it. You know, the American people, the United States people, you could say American people too, they mostly agree on stuff like the cultural, um, and even on the cultural stuff, most people agree overall. I think way more than they disagree, and the wedge isn't as wide as you would think. Now there are some groups or some people that's not going to move on those culture issues. They are where they are, and they're not moving, and they're not going to see eye to eye. And that's the reason why they use those, because they're a very useful tool to divide and conquer. Go on the economics side, you know what I mean? There, left and the right line up. Almost identical, like it's, they like to say left, right, and center. This is not a center, this is a whole. This is like all. This is like 90% of the people in these two groups line up. But see, that's the reason why the conversations never go that way. And yeah, man, I freaking agree with that. Right on, brother. So then they get us, and it's like, the Methodists don't like the Baptists, the the Catholics don't like nobody, uh, like they put themselves in timeout. You got the evangelicals, you know, 7-day Adventists. I might be saying that wrong. Anyways, every other thing, where one, the dominant forces within Islam, on the religious side, on the, you got the ones that's like Ramadan starts on this day, and the other ones are like, no, Ramadan starts on this day. It's we're right because we followed the such and such and such. And the other side is no, we're right because we followed the such and such and such. Okay, there's always going to be that, but that's that tool that they use. Like I'm saying, on way more than we disagree on, and for the stuff that matters to us in our lives the most, everybody just want to, have a regular life, some amount of autonomy and sovereignty and safety and security, and it's really simple. And so we mostly all agree. And if we just come together on those things that we do agree about, the things that we do agree on, and otherwise we can't. And that's the reason why the powers that be keep us on each other about, you know, do you eat breakfast or whatever? Or how much protein do you eat? Like something so silly, like really, really silly stuff that don't matter. I ain't gonna say they don't matter. They matter. It's just that the stuff that really, really matters is we're it's like a magic trick. They make us look away from what really matters and make us look at some comment. It doesn't help the economy or the other issues we have. I'm just curious because I really don't know what the next step is supposed to be if the files are released. Well, the next step is to prosecute people that, you know, did these crimes, and justice matters. On the other hand, I do feel this comment. We got bigger fish to fry is my thing. I'm totally with holding these people accountable, but we do have bigger fish to fry. So it's like we're focusing on, there goes it's just like what I was saying about, you know, it matters. It does matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. It's just that we got like a really big other thing over here that really, 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 really matters. You know, the people are held accountable for those crimes. And I believe in justice. Do not get me wrong. And if maybe if you're a survivor or somehow was affected by the situation, then seeing them being held accountable will really, or you're a family member of someone who's then your life. But you're gonna go on with your day. Walk and chew bubble gum. But this is some other stuff we need to be focusing on. The comment says it's so embarrassing what passes for qualified among Republicans. What is this?